Okay, so it's the next day. I could not finish that chapter in one day. So basically, there were a bunch of strikes and unionized labor strikes. Women were organized, men were organized. It was happening across all different kinds of factories and mills and different subgroups of commerce and that kind of thing. What was astonishing in so many of these struggles was not that the strikers did not win all that they wanted, but that against such great odds they dared to resist, and they were not destroyed. Perhaps it was the recognition that day-to-day combat was not enough, that fundamental change was needed, which stimulated the growth of revolutionary movements at this time. The Socialist Labor Party, formed in 1877, was tiny and torn by internal arguments, but it had some influence in organizing unions among foreign workers. In New York, Jewish socialists organized and put out a newspaper. In Chicago, German revolutionaries, along with native-born radicals like Albert Parsons, formed social revolutionary clubs. In 1883, an anarchist congress took place in Pittsburgh. It drew up a manifesto. The manifesto asked equal rights for all without distinction to sex or race. It quoted the Communist Manifesto: "Workmen of all lands, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. You have a world to win." There were differences in theory among these revolutionary groups, but the theorists were often brought together by the practical needs of labor struggles, and there were many in the mid-1880s. In early 1886, the Texas and Pacific Railroad fired a leader of the District Assembly of the Knights of Labor, which was one of the unions. And this led to a strike which spread throughout the Southwest, tying up traffic as far as St. Louis and Kansas City. 9 young men recruited in New Orleans as marshals, brought to Texas to protect company property, learned about the strike, and quit their jobs, saying, "As man to man, we could not justifiably go to work and take the bread out of our fellow workmen's mouths, no matter how much we needed it ourselves." They were then arrested for defrauding the company by refusing to work and sentenced to 3 months in the Galveston County Jail. The strikers engaged in sabotage. By the spring of 1886, the movement for an 8-hour workday had grown. On May 1st, the American Federation of Labor, now 5 years old, called for nationwide strikes wherever the 8-hour workday was refused. The Grand Chief of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers opposed the 8-hour workday, saying 2 hours less work means 2 hours more loafing about the corners and 2 hours more for drink. But railroad workers did not agree and supported the 8-hour movement. Can you imagine you're a worker and you're like, "No, we should work more. Why do you want to work less hours?" And you're in the same situation as everybody else. Like, even if you were a manager or a boss or whatever, like, mans, you don't own the factory. You're still a worker, and you're trying to convince people to work more, knowing good and goddamn well that everybody's getting paid nothing, basically. So, man, I tell you, there are people on the inside, there are people who are living very similarly to those that they try to oppress. And that is what blows my mind. I never understand that. I never get it. Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next video.